Testing 1 2 3. There we go. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Merry Christmas. Good morning to today's ad-free live stream. My name's Tyler if you're here for the first time, and I'm expecting some new people here this morning because not very many other people are going to be streaming. So what my goal is here today is I'm going to be sharing with you my daily trading bias. I'm going to share live trades that I've taken or take, and I'm going to give you a front row seat to all the action. That's what you can expect on this live stream here today. So if you have questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. We'll make sure we answer them, go through them, and help you through the process of learning how to day trade futures. If you're joining after the actual live stream, you can jump down and follow the chapter markers below where you'll find all the trades that I've taken, along with a detailed explanation of what I was thinking and why. Lastly, if you're looking to take your trading to the next level, you can use the code DTJ and you can get a eval account with Apex. It is currently 50% off, I believe, for a 25K account and a 50K account. It's 1 day to pass, and I believe it is 125 activation fee for a funded account. You can use that code DTJ and you can get that if you're looking to work with prop firms. So not looking to try to pull anybody that doesn't want to do it. Just if you are, all this live streaming is completely free, and it's a pretty easy way to just say thanks, Tyler, for what you're doing. So let's go ahead and open in prayer, and then let's rock and roll this morning. Father, we honor you in our trading. We thank you for the opportunity we have to sit down and trade this morning. Lord, we just want to give you all the glory, honor, and praise. We acknowledge that it is you who has given us the ability to produce wealth. And Father, we want to honor you with our wealth. We honor you with our time. We honor you with everything that you've placed in our hands. Father, I pray for your wisdom, for not only for me, for also for those on the stream. Father, I pray for blessing over them over this holiday season, that they would see increase in their life and they would see a touch of you in their life. In Jesus' name, amen. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Tony T. Woodard. Deborah, good morning. Glad to have you. Glad you're here. Merry Christmas. Let's go ahead and let's start taking a look at the market here. I'm going to be very, very simplistic today. And if I was to give a target, my goal is Friday's this level right here. That's my goal. I want to target that. This is a 4-hour. We're on the 4-hour chart here. Look where it overlaps. Look how nicely equilibrium overlaps with that 4-hour fair value gap. I'm looking for an opportunity to take this short. That's pretty much it, folks. Shane, good morning. It's going to be pretty simple here this morning. That is my goal. I'm looking for that opportunity. And it's a high probability. In the last 16 weeks, I think it's not done it once or twice. So that's kind of the setup I'm looking for. We had a nice little sell-off already. We didn't hit Friday's highs. I think we could also run into Friday's highs as well, but we'll see. I'm not sure if we want to go really high or really low, or if we want to stay consolidating. We don't have any news today, this week, and around the world, pretty much no news at all. If we drop down to the 15-minute, this is what I was referring to. We have the nice sell-off right here. Sell-off here, matching this side. That's kind of nice, I would say. If you wanted to identify potential reversal area, we have this breaker right there that it is already tagged. And we have this volume imbalance, which is our previous day's trading. So we're going to drop down to the 1 minute, and we're going to mark that out. So this is our new week opening gap right here. That's our new week opening gap high and our new week opening gap low. All right, and that is for the week of the 23rd. got Friday's high up here and Friday's low. It's going to be way down here. See if we got a London low. It looks like we may have ran. We have London high. Good morning, Wilhelm. Good, how are you doing? I'm a bit confused because on the higher time frame it shows bearish, but on shorter time frames bullish. We look at higher time frames. That's what we're going to want to do. Higher time frames. All right, marking our opening range gap here this morning. Four minutes till open here, folks. Yesterday's PM low is sitting right here, I'm assuming, yeah. I like this for All right, so I'm going to be watching this 15-minute. I want to see in the next 2 minutes, do we close below this 15-minute? If we don't close above this 15-minute, or we could say this 5-minute here. Let's do the 5 minutes, a little smaller range. Then I don't think we're going to have we may not have an explosion higher. What you're seeing on here with these the blue highlighted red and blue is a paper account. I just haven't removed it. I will be trading on another chart, but I figured I'd just leave it. What did I want to do? Fair value gap. There we go. Okay. Let's see how we react to this level. We have our opening range gap. It's going to be somewhere like that. Down to, Yeah, that looks nice. Good morning, Ted. Sorry about that, Phil. Yep, we did pray this morning. So we may, the only thing is we did tap the new day, new week opening gap, and we swept liquidity here, and we filled this volume, the volume balance from the new day opening gap. Getting a little bit of a nice little pump. We got a little low resistance liquidity to our left, and potentially some more liquidity up to the London high. But immediately it looks like we're retracing all of that progress. You bet, Shane. Good morning, Nancy. I'm glad you're here. Or at least you're on your way snowboarding and skiing. That sounds way funner than watching me. I don't know how he convinced you to watch me. I wish I was on my way to snowboard. That would be fun. My wife is my wife is African, and my wife doesn't do cold weather. She barely does any cold anything. She's open to do some ice skating. She actually mentioned she would like to do some ice skating this year. So we'll see if we go ice skating. But she's like, "You want to go have fun in the cold for hours?" I'm like, "Yes. It's a blast." She doesn't want to do that. All right, so we just swept this high sitting right here. We'll see if it wants to push all the way to the London high. Oh yeah, ice skating's not too far off from, let's just say ice skating is the Midwest option for snowboarding because there ain't no mountains here. It's pretty flat. We got bluffs. We got this little snow run in Council Bluffs that you literally get on it and you can snow down it for like 15 to 30 seconds, and then you're at the bottom. I don't even know if it's that. Yeah, it's probably 15, 30 seconds. Not very much. All right, so we got the 1 minute here. We got a 5 minute here. Opening range gap that hasn't been filled yet. We tagged it barely, but the breaker's obviously not in play. This breaker has worked once. We swept that high, and it looks like it may work again. I like the way that looks, especially with I think if I'm going to go short, there's a 2 minute, 3 minute. I think I'd want it to run through this 1 minute right here. I plan on taking my boys. I got 3 boys. I plan on taking my boys snowboarding. That's something we will do. I'm going to teach them how to snowboard. It is worth the experience. So much fun. So as of right now, the 9:30 price is our 5 minute change in stated delivery. Right now, if we're looking at this swing high right here. So either we see that take place or we pump through the London highs. We'll see how price wants to do. And so far, it's just been consolidating back and forth. No fair value gaps. We'll see if it wants to displace below this. And see if it wants to leave a fair value gap here somewhere. Okay, we're eating into the fair value gap, and it's gone. No fair value gap. And if I'm honest with you, there's very, very low expectations today. Okay? if we're going to do this consolidation, you might be able to get 5-10 handles out of just going short right here, going long right here, going short right here, going... Who was that? I think Northern did that. I mean, it's not something I recommend at all. All right, Shane. Take care. Good luck. Have fun. I appreciate it. One thing I heard is depending on which side of the midnight opening price you are on, it will move towards that in the AM session 70% of the time. My understanding, Ted, is that when midnight open is not ran, and actually I'm surprised I didn't put that on here. Hang on. Before I do that, I want to make sure this is just another fake run, a fake drop. Midnight open is right here. All right, so let's mark midnight open. It can run towards midnight open if it's not tagged in London session. So London starts right here. So we run through it during the London session. So it doesn't have to reach up here, but because the London high hasn't been ran, it could be an option. But as you can tell, it's just this back and forth. Oh, let's do that. Could we move higher? Could we move lower? That is the question. $15-minute is about to close. We'll see if it closes above this, its fair value gap, or if it respects it. But I mean, even if we look on the 4-hour time frame, the 4-hour time frame tag this, and we have a 4-hour fair value gap and PM Friday session low and this equilibrium down here. There's just too many things that tell me it wants to go lower. That's why I'm looking for lower prices. But today is one of those days where you do not want to play the breakout. You want to play the retracement of the breakout. 1 hour fair value gap. Yeah, Friday session lows. We swept those highs. We do have a 1 hour order block as well. Yeah, this is a sell model. This just looks like a sell model to me. We just don't know when it wants to do that, and that's kind of what we're waiting for. All right, so if everything plays out, this is our first fair value gap. Hit the like button for me, guys. We'll look at taking our first trade on screen. I need to make sure my micro screen's set up here. It always does that. There's always issues. There's always some type of issue. All right, so we do have our first fair value gap sitting right there. All right, so micro screen's not working at the moment. Oh, I was half tempted to go short there. I didn't. I'm like, oh, that looks like a decent spot. Wait for a close below this fair value gap if we don't run this low. All right, so we ran that low. These are not the days that I want to go short on a big move like this, because it could be a high resistance type move, meaning it could retrace all of this and then continue lower. And then because I got in short here, I'm now in drawdown 30 handles. Like, this is 30 handles, folks. This is 30 handles. I mean, that's a ton. We can get 10 handles out of this pretty easily. So I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait, and we'll see what we can get here. Those are the types of things that I'm not afraid of, but I want to be careful about. But that doesn't look bad. Let's see how this closes here on the 1 minute. I want to see if this 1 minute closes above it or if it respects it here. That might be my entry, depending on how it handles this. All right, it failed that fair value gap. It could just continue lower, but I'm just noting that it overlapped. It closed below this inversion right here. It did sweep that low, but then it also closed above it right here. So still watching, and we could see one of these just up and downs as we move lower. So honestly, the first part that I thought was decent, that was the opportunity. I'm not going to, I'll be honest with you, I did take this order block right here, and I just took for 10 handles. I wish I was still holding it, but I just took 10 handles and got out. When we closed here and we wicked up into this order block, you saw me write this order block. That's where I took a short just for 10 handles. Excuse me. Zeus, do you think Apex will have some good discounts now? Maybe not for Christmas, because I bet you they think a lot of people are going to take it off, but I bet you for New Year's they do. I thought it was Christmas, but then I was thinking more about it. I'm like, why would they want to do a major discount when everybody's taking it off? I just don't think that's going to happen. But the New Year's, when everybody's excited about the new year, about good price action and what January has to offer, I bet you that's when we see some discounts. Just my personal opinion and just how they've done discounts in the past. That's what I expect. Yeah, I mean, Phil, market is super choppy. That's why, I didn't even have time to, I took this with a bracket order and it filled it almost immediately without me even wanting to get to my screen. The screen's not working on my micro screen, but I really wasn't able to even talk about it because it was just so fast. I'm like, it closed. I'm like, okay, this could be an order block. There's the order block. Let's take it. Oh, it's done. So yes, I think that's going to be better price. Oh, look at that reaction. I'm looking at my chart. That's a nice little tag of the order block and reaction lower. I'm not going to freak out. Not going to freak out. I like it though. I think it's going to be just like this the whole way, folks. So if you're going to take a trade, you got to be very nimble, and it has to be when we're coming up into resistance, not when we're expanding through things. If you take the trade while it's expanding through things to go short, it will do this to you. I can promise you. And you'll have to deal with drawdown. And nobody likes that. So don't take the expansions. Go short on the retracements. Retracements higher into order blocks. That's your best option. But even with all of this, I'm sure, well, I'm not 100% positive because of no news in before Christmas, but there hasn't been a fantastic trade here yet. This was an okay, like, oh, I could see this, but we never ran liquidity. We were in consolidation, and we could have easily just came right back up into here and consolidated. So just there hasn't been anything crystal clear. We got 5 minutes till the hourly and the 4 hour till 10 o'clock. Here's what I would want to see if we leave a fair value gap, which no, we have a tiny one. That's still 4 handles, so it's not horrible to move lower. So the first fair value gap, the reason why it's past this wick is we have a volume imbalance on the 1 minute candle. So I'm going to include the volume imbalance as part of the fair value gap. Check out the reaction at 9:30. The 9:30 price, opening price. I want to see price find resistance here, personally. Or at the least, the bodies stay below this. It could wick up into the first fair value gap, I guess. We have a 15-minute wiki candle and potentially another wick candle. We got 3 minutes left on this. We filled the new week opening gap, so that's potentially enough to go higher. This is pre-market, this is after the market, and we filled the opening range gap. Okay? So the opening range gap has been filled. That could be enough for us to run the liquidity up here again, maybe move towards the London highs. Ultimately, my interest is towards the Friday PM low and the Friday equilibrium level down here. These are where I want it to go. So that's the kind of direction I want to take my trade in, because personally that's what I think I'm excited about. Now this first fair value gap, if we get some type of order block in here before we run that inversion, if we get a down close candle and then a bullish candle that closes above it, that could be a good sign for running this liquidity. I personally would not want to take it on the first stab because of the type of environment I think we're in, high resistance, meaning a lot of overlapping candles. So if we were to close like this, I could expect a retracement that would invalidate the trade or just put me in a drawdown position that I don't want to be in before it moves higher. I don't want to mess with that. So I want to see an order block in here before I consider taking along to these levels. That's because order blocks show, as you can see, when price is moving a direction, look how it respects order blocks. It respects the order blocks as it's moving to a specific level. And in high resistance liquidity runs, price could just be here to wick through this fair value gap because it was left open. Now it wants to fill this unopened fair value gap down here. There's so many different ways at high resistance. It's just why you want to stay out of it, to be honest. The nice thing about the size of these candles is if you're on the right side of the move and you just do a bracket order for 10 handles, you can get a nice quick win for the most part. So gun to my head right now, if I had to take a trade, I don't even know. It would be short probably, considering we filled this fair value gap. But that's gun to my head. I'm not taking nothing at the moment. That's 10 o'clock. This is the 10 o'clock candle. We'll see what price wants to do. Toast, a gluten-free bread, toast, a little bit of butter. Okay? Just make it mild. Something that's easy for your stomach. Sure, you can try it, but go very slow. See how it feels. My son on 2 nights ago, that would have been Saturday night. Saturday night, he threw up 4 times. Some issue with his stomach, but he's feeling better now. So he says he's starving. I'm like, yeah, let's start with some just bread, something that's not gonna react. So the problem about taking a short off of this is that we already ran a good ways down. These high resistance areas, this is me verbally processing, folks. So you see the overlapping candles. It's like I want to figure out when we run lower here, we retrace it almost all the way before we have a nice, decent move. But even in that move, we retrace most of it. So even if I wanted to go short, I would want to see the retracement and then take that short so that I have less drawdown. Taking the short down here means I could have even a bigger retracement that I just don't like. So in other words, go short on green candles, go long on red candles. It's hard. This is why it's not recommended to trade the markets like this. All right, if there's an opportunity, I don't know when it's going to be, I will take a short. I don't know if it's going to be on screen. I'm just being honest with you guys. Because it's high resistance and meaning my focus and attention is making the trade. I like it did sweep this fair value gap right here. See if it wants to respect that order block. It doesn't look like it. No fair value gaps here either. I'm going to try a short from that rejection, that order block, see if it wants to give it to us. Okay, got 10 handles on that, and I'm out. So the reason why I'm on my TradingView account right now, I'll show you. Let's see if it'll let me share the screen, if it works. Okay, so I'm on my TradingView account right now because this little feature right here allows me to make really easy bracket orders where I can just put 10 handle a bracket order. So this is why I've taken the trade on here where I took that trade. And I just waited for price to come up into this and said, okay, I think we could get at least 10 handles. And we did, and I sold it. I'm not looking to hold in this market. So I don't even know if I can, where is the... Let me see if I can find... If I can put the markers on here. I forget how to do that. Because I don't use TradingView hardly at all. Yeah, before I do that, I mean, this is the direction I'm wanting it to go. Watching this. It's really small. Look at that. This, yeah. This is a very tough environment to trade in, folks. All right, it looks like the opportunity is coming. For a trade lower. But again, do I want to go short right here? No. It could drop right now and I wouldn't want to go with it. I'd want to wait for some type of retracement into a level. Like right here is a breaker. No, not really. I guess you could call it high, low, higher, high. You could call this a breaker right here. So a retracement into a level like that could give you more confidence on going short. Am I going to take it? Not right now. But you can tell that we're looking to expand into that. I like the idea of a short right here, but that would have worked out. Easily for 10 handles. If we close below this level here, I could see a very aggressive move lower. I think that's on the table. When I say very aggressive, I mean run towards these lows without hardly any retracement. But I'm hoping for a retracement, to be honest, because I'm not in this. My model hasn't showed up once that I felt comfortable taking. The only way that I've taken a trade is off of order blocks. So it's not my primary entry strategy, so I'm not holding for these big moves. All right, there's the tag of Friday. Red line is the ultimate target. I think if I'm going to take something, I'm going to wait for something like this. If it wants to give it to us. It could do it up to the PM Friday, the PM lows. There's the tag of Friday low right there. We'll see how it wants to react to it. Small fair value gap right here. Probably looks better on the 2-minute. Matt P, good morning. Yes, I'm well. New day opening gap, 18th midpoint. And 15-minute fair value gap sitting down here, I'm assuming. Right, Tony? These are all characteristics of a high resistance liquidity run. It doesn't mean it's reversing. It means it's it could reverse, but it means it's high resistance. So I'm still looking for lower prices. That's personally what I'd be looking for. So for lower prices, if we're here, I would want to see it close below this 1 minute, maybe retag it and then run lower. That's kind of an idea that I would be looking for. But I don't want to assume that we are going to turn here because we could keep moving higher. The 15-minute just closed right at the lows. Right there. The 5-minute closed at the lows too. We're inside the 5-minute fair value gap. This is a mitigation block. This is a breaker here. Let's see if we find resistance right around this level here. This is a new day opening gap. This would be a good place to find resistance in it to roll over here. Yeah, I like that. Watching that order block. And this breaker. Let's get rid of the order block. We can see that. This was the swing low. Friday exception lows were there. Get rid of that. And we just retagged the opening range gap low. So, there it is. I'm waiting for a 1-minute change in state of delivery. And then potentially a rebalance. Like that. I like this spot right here for a little bit of a sell-off. I want to see how we react to this fair value gap right here. kind of just watching this fair value gap right here, folks. We haven't reached that breaker yet either. We'll see how we react to that breaker right there. Nice reaction to that breaker. My computer on my end is a little choppy and a little glitchy. Yes, Deborah, the candles are crazy big on these retracements. That's why I'm like, if you can get in on the retracement, you can get 10 handles when you hit a key level like this. The thing about it is you have to deal with that wick right there. That's tough. Waiting for the 1 minute change in state of delivery. Looking, I would like this to turn into an order block. Five-minute filled out the rest of this fair value gap and hit the order block and breaker. So I do like the idea of lower prices here. Good morning, Greg. Then tell him what to eat.
Can you not tell?
I already did.
Tell him to talk to me, please.
9:30 candle created an SMT. Okay, so this candle will be our potentially order block here. We'll find out here shortly. This also could be a mini breaker. High, low, higher, high. Okay, so we do have our order block right here. I still am eyeing this fair value gap because this fair value gap could find support in. And especially if it just wants to consolidate, that's what I'm concerned about. What if it wants to just consolidate right here? This is what it could. It could consolidate right in this level. 15-minute looks good. Well, I want to see where this next 15-minute candle closes. We didn't make a lower low. We'll find out if it does here shortly. We're waiting to see if price wants to break out above this breaker or below this fair value gap. If it breaks above the breaker, I'm not doing anything. If it breaks below the fair value gap, I will look for a shorting opportunity. We're looking at the draw on liquidity being the equilibrium of Friday's range, which is right here, sitting at just about at 408.25. $21,408.25. That's where I'm looking for price to move to. So right there, that red line. It could take its sweet time there too. The 4-hour also tagged the 4-hour fair value gap already. This is the beginning of the 4-hour fair value gap. You can see that red box. This is the consolidation that I was referring to. I don't want to do anything inside this. So just reading order flow. Has anybody got any good plans for Christmas? Anybody doing anything fun for Christmas? All right, let's see how this expands lower here. That did nothing. Hindsight is always 2020. Closed below right at the midpoint. We wigged up into that and had a decent expansion for, let's see, 46 to 36, 10 handles. So you could have got 10 handles out of that. Not saying you'd want to do that. I'm just pointing out order flow. Because we are in consolidation. We got about a little less than 10 minutes and we'll be in the 11 a.m. macro. So probably won't be on much longer after that. So that failed ultimately without grabbing a low. Further confirming we're in consolidation. We got a breaker right here. I want to see if this wants to act as a bullish breaker now. It's overlapping with a bearish breaker at the same place. Nice reaction there. Beautiful reaction. A few friends coming over for Christmas. Yeah, we have family coming over. Gonna have some steak. Open presents. The nephews and cousins will be coming over. All right, I was wanting to see if we could reach back into this level here. So these series of down close candles right here is what made the low. This is the order block I'm looking at. It's overlapping with this breaker, so I'm looking at that as a bullish breaker at the moment, even though it started out as a bearish breaker. An aggressive candle into here, and then and then it leaving the area, I will look at longs. All right, there's the tag of this fair value gap. Let's see what happens here. I have multiples. Like I feel like everything's glitching on me. Let's close down some things. So this breaker could still be acting as a bearish breaker right now. I mean, honestly, I'm more interested in shorts anyway. I'm going to try a short right here. This is what I'm looking at right now. Just to get something like that. Here's 1050 right here. I'm going to close that right there. About 15 handles. So I closed it right there. I don't like the fact that we're not moving, which is not unexpected. It's expected. But I wasn't willing to lose more than, I think I had my stop loss up here. It was a 20 handle stop loss. I'm not willing to lose that much money. I don't want to lose that. So as soon as we made the lower low, I think I wanted to just take it and get out. Be happy with a small win. I'm also on reduced size. I'm not trading my normal size. And no, I haven't put them on screen. No, I have not traded on screen. Phil, I'm not. It is a lot of mental torture. Katie Pan, I am bearish. I want it to run down to Friday's equilibrium. The only negative thing that we have going for us is we already ran into the 4-hour fair value gap right here. So this is where I wanted it to run. Sitting at 408, 21,408. And that's why I think it's going to end up running there, but it's been this back and forth this whole time. So this trade is still valid on what I took. I just closed it. I don't feel it's, if it was a different day, not a couple days before Christmas, I may have considered holding it. And it absolutely could still work out, and it may not. I don't know. I mean, that's just the truth. And when I have an I don't know feeling, I think it's safer just to take the profits and get out. Am I trading on Christmas Day? Probably not, if I'm honest with you. Because I don't know, not because I don't want to, simply because I don't think we'll have time. My kids will get up and they'll want to do something. I mean, I may have some time, but I don't know. To be honest, what I would only be interested in is getting about the minimum threshold for Apex, which is $50. If I can get $50 per account, then I qualify for adding it as a day towards my 8 days. I would like to get one more. If I do trade Christmas, technically I could get another payout before the new year. So that's why I'm considering trading it or not. All right, so this kind of reaction right here is what I wanted to avoid and did not want to have to deal with. Yeah. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for making the right decision. I'm not going to. I mean, overall, the price action is just really choppy, really nasty. It not surprising. So. Ricardo, 2 minute. What's the time on that 2 minute for inversion? If you're talking about this one here, technically it's still valid. I mean, it looked nice. Guess we'll see where it closes in 22 seconds, right? I mean, that doesn't look bad at all, Richard. Is that 10:08? No, 10:08. Oh, this inversion. Got it. It absolutely is. It has a couple other things that are in its favor. We did run Friday PM session lows and tagged the 4-hour and the 15-minute. But look at that low resistance. I mean, this is going to be pretty once it runs. It looks like it's just going to run it right here. We do need EQ to move. I mean, I'm waiting for this. Waiting for that. That's what I would want to see. We didn't sweep this high on this push, so it's not an A+ inversion right here. Yeah, I don't know. It's something like that. Yeah, it has to be 409.25. That's what I got. 409.25, 409.50. Both are legit levels. But for those of you that are just starting out in trading, this is the type of market you want to stay out of. What you want to be able to do is recognize these types of conditions and be able to tell yourself you need to stay out. That's the truth. That is just the honest truth. I've already closed my trading accounts, my copier. All my current accounts are closed, and the only thing I have open right now is this paper trading account that you guys are seeing right here. I hit my minimum threshold, the bare minimum of what I want to achieve, and on a day like this, it's not very high. I'm just being honest. I'm okay with not trying to go for the moon. Yes, I am using Apex. I use Apex every day I trade. And the code is linked there in the chat, DTJ, if you use Apex and you want to get up to 90% off at times. Right now, it's not 90, it's not 80, it's not 70. I'm pretty sure it's 50% off right now. Slate, first visit, welcome. Glad you're here. Thanks for saying hi. But yeah, that code, I'm pretty sure they'll probably, you never know what they're gonna do. But if I was Apex, I would be doing a New Year discount of 80% probably, because it's sitting at 50% right now. Yes, I do have advice on how to how to handle drawdown. Actually, I had this question in Friday's live stream, and I went into extreme detail on how to handle it. I will be posting, Lenu, a video more than likely in the next day or two, which is basically a trimmed down version of that live stream for that point on how to handle drawdown. But if you want quick tips, since nobody likes waiting, I wouldn't want to wait either. If somebody came to me and said, hey, how do I handle drawdown? And they go, I'm going to have a video coming out in a few days. Wait for that video and then you will learn. No, that's just ridiculous. If it was out, I would drop the link in there and I'd have you watch the video right now. But the answer is, number one, you reduce your size. You have to reduce your size. If you're doing a mini contract, you got to reduce it to micros. If you're using micros, you need to cut your micros in half. Okay, because your drawdown is telling you one of two things. Either you haven't figured out a strategy, a true strategy to be able to be profitable, or you're just in you're in a losing streak, and losing streaks end. And when you're in a losing streak, you want to preserve your capital as much as possible until you get out of that losing streak. And that typically is a mindset change, something emotionally you got to deal with, a mindset shift that needs to happen to start getting you out of that drawdown period. Now, you do that, and as you start winning again, you keep your size half size until you earn back typically 50 to 75% of what you lost. And if you have compounded losses, well, then you do the 50% based on what your compounded losses are until you get that. But drawdown, the big lesson about drawdown that most people don't really look at is, while drawdown sucks, it's never fun. It is such a necessary journey every trader must go through or go on. You need to have the confidence, and you need to create the confidence that you can get yourself out of drawdown. So in the video, I talk about how if you have an Apex account that's, in severe drawdown, maybe you're only $50 away from blowing the account, I would put all my attention on that one account. And I would do everything that I could to claw myself out of that drawdown. because there is some great satisfaction on being able to pull yourself out of that drawdown period. Now, you may fail and you may blow the account. That's okay. You can try it again on another account, because I promise you there'll be another opportunity. But you need to build the muscle of being able to get out of drawdown by reducing your size, managing your risk, managing your trades, taking less trades, only taking A+ setups. All these things are only learned when you're in drawdown. So, if you are seeing drawdown as a negative thing, as a roadblock to your success, it is, but it's also a springboard to your success. And if you don't view it that way and you don't give yourself the opportunity to use those drawdown periods as lessons to be learned, as opportunities to grow, then you're going to be in this unprofitable stage much longer than you want. Drawdown is like the friend that tells you the bad news. It's the friend that tells you the things you don't want to hear. You don't like it, but man, at the end of the day, you really appreciate that friend that had the guts to be able to tell you the things you didn't want to hear. That's what drawdown does. Drawdown's telling you something. It's telling you something's wrong. It's telling you that your emotions aren't in check. Or it's telling you your strategy isn't on point. Or it's telling you that you haven't identified a strategy that is profitable. It's telling you things. Your job as a trader is to identify them, identify it, reduce your size, protect your capital, learn the lesson, and get out of it. Some of my best lessons I've ever learned have been through drawdown, and I hate it. To this day, I hate it. I mean, I don't think anybody's ever going to love it. Oh man, I can't wait. I'm in drawdown. Oh yeah, I'm going to get a lesson. No, it's not that way. It's more of, crap, this sucks. And it's a mindset shift to say, okay, I'm in drawdown. I hate this, but I know there's something for me to learn here. And it gives you that push to be determined, to follow rules, to be consistent. Exactly, Phil. And to put that energy into taking out the lesson that is there. There's something there. It's telling you something, and we have to figure that out. And in the process, we just have to make sure we don't blow accounts. We don't want to oversize, over leverage. We need to reduce our size, protect our capital while we learn that lesson. It sucks. It really does. But it is so necessary to our journey as traders. It's something that I'll have to pull myself out of whatever mental state I'm in. What I'm telling you is what I go through when I'm dealing with this. Emotionally, it's you got to pull yourself out of those periods. Now, I will tell you that my relationship with the Lord has single-handedly been the difference maker that has helped me go from a place of despair when I have drawdown, when I have my goals and I'm wanting to see progress, to knowing that my Father's promises are true. That he promised me that he's going to walk me through it. That if I don't have an answer, if I ask, he'll give me direction. And through those times I've asked, I've sooked his face, got answers, journaled through that process, and have come out on the other side. I just recently, was it 3 weeks ago? I had 2 or 3 trades. I don't know how many weeks ago it was. I did them on stream. You can go back and find them. Where I had like 2 or 3 trades in a row that were just major losers. When my standard loss, but 3 in a row, just that doesn't happen for me very often. And so the 3 in a row just slapped me in the face, and I was told everybody, I was like, guys, I got to get off. I got to be done. If I'm not done, I'm going to blow accounts. And I had to go through that process again. You just are going to go through that process. Drawdown, internal search of what's going on, reduce risk to protect yourself, make the adjustments, be consistent like Phil says here in the chat, and work and claw yourself out of that drawdown. And when you do, man, you feel great. You really do. You feel great. You become grateful for the lesson that was learned. You really do. So, that's what I would say to you, Lenu. That's what I would say. And that's one thing. So the concepts that I trade are ICT's concepts, Michael Huddleston. And I rarely listen to his stuff today, but when I did, that is one thing that I appreciated over and over and over again, that even though I know the lesson, to hear somebody else talk about it again and again and again, it just like reinstills those principles in my heart. It reinstills those principles in my mind, makes them forefront. And I don't think you can hear this lesson enough. So be careful on saying, oh, I've heard this before. I've heard this before. I don't need to hear this again. There is value in rehearing, re-listening to these same principles that are so hard to learn, because it requires so much personal development and strength to be able to change yourself. That's literally what you're doing. You're identifying things in your life you don't like that shouldn't be there, and you have to consciously change those things. One of the big things with me is closing down my charts. So I've closed down all my accounts and I'm off my accounts. So I have no live counts open. I take that back. I should close this right here. Okay. I have all my accounts closed. That took a lot of extra work on my end to be able to get to the place where I became okay with doing that. And as I did it more, it's like, man, it feels really nice to take 1 or 2 trades, be green, and close my account and walk away. It usually was, man, what if I can make more money? Am I missing any trades? To now, it's just like, man, it feels refreshing to be able to walk away green and knowing that I'm not losing any money. Knowing that I'm not going to lose any money because I'm not taking a trade. Changing things in your life is so difficult. It requires so much work. And it's why trading is one of the hardest things you could ever do. It's not the strategy that's hard. It's not understanding how price moves up and down. That's going to come. It's being able to manage yourself. That right there is the hardest thing I've encountered. By far, hardest thing. Slate, if someone is just starting out with ICT ideas, do you have any ideas where to start? Quality versus quantity. Michael is really, really, really difficult to listen to. I understand. Okay, a couple things. So I'm going to give you, well, first off, Michael is the best person to learn from. I'm going to say this, and I'll say this, and then I'm going to share. Michael is the best person to learn from, considering they're his concepts. Now, other people, including myself, have created and basically taken his concepts and made them, in my opinion, easier to understand. Or in other words, don't spread it out over the course of 2 or 4 hours. So you can find other traders that teach his concepts and learn from them. Now, every trader, including myself, that takes ICT concepts are going to bend them to their flavor. That's just how it works. So I can list off 5 or 6 traders right now that do it all differently, that use ICT concepts. You have me, you have Daji D, you have Tiana, you have Lumi traders or Dasha, you have Jade. That's 5 right there. Those are just the ones that popped in my head. All of those people will teach it differently. So you can go on their YouTube channels. You can go on my YouTube channel. You can find all the different things. Now, if you want a more concise, everything's put together in a nice way, all of those people, including myself, also have a Discord and an actual course that teaches ICT's concepts. And you can check that out if you're interested in that. I'm actually going to be doing a New Year's and Christmas sale tomorrow. I will be giving a discount for my community and for the Purpose Driven Trader Academy. That's what my course is called, the Purpose Driven Trader Academy and Discord. All of it's together. I will be giving out a discount tomorrow for that. Considering it's Christmas Eve and everything. That's right. Christmas. That's what we're talking about. Ricardo, yep, I've watched Lumi stuff in the past. I can easily identify fair value gaps and inversions, but I struggle to detect things like order blocks, breaker blocks, and then knowing what to do with them is also challenging. So that right there, Slate, comes with time and reading order flow. So what I've been doing all morning with you guys is reading order flow. Yes, I took a trade, but most of my time is spent waiting. If you go to my X, I talked on my X profile. I have a blog on there on the power of waiting. I also talked about it in one of my past live streams. I think it was about 3 live streams ago, I think it was. But we don't look at waiting in the right way. Most of your trading time is waiting. It's sitting. It's being patient. But what you're doing during that time is how you learn breakers, order blocks, fair value gaps, and how price reacts with them. Okay? I had this breaker right here, which came from over here. And we watched it hit this level right here. You remember that? So I've seen price hit these big breakers like this enough that when we come up and hit them, we get a reaction. We may not continue lower. We may just go a little bit lower and then it may go higher, but we will get a reaction from here. I'm hesitant to say this because I constantly feel when I take off-screen trades, I feel like it's really easy for people to lie. It's really easy for people to say what they did off-screen, and I think it sounds fake. I think it sounds disingenuous at times. But I'm telling you anyway because I did take the trade. I went short right when we hit this breaker for 20 handles because I wanted to see if we could get 20 handles from this reaction, and we did. And I got 20 handles out of it. Now, I was on reduced size. I didn't take a very big contract, but I did that because of I've watched order flow so much that I've seen these levels work. Now, I've seen these levels not work too. And it's one of those things, as you watch price more and more, you just become more familiar with what price does. And it's why I only trade the Nasdaq. Do you think you could do this on the Nasdaq, on ES, on Tesla, on YM, or whatever indice you're trading? No, it's too much. That's why I only trade the Nasdaq, because I wanted to get familiar with how price reacts in this context. So when you are familiar with order blocks and you start seeing them play out, that's where it starts giving you confidence. In addition to this being a breaker, what else is here? This order block. Look at that nice order block right there, and the body is overlapping with this breaker. That's a beautiful, beautiful order block. So breakers, order blocks, and mitigation blocks all use the same concepts of order blocks. They're just created in a different way. Breakers have a high, low, higher, high. Mitigation blocks have a high, low, lower, high, and break slower. But they all overlapped around the same area, so I was like, this is nice. I think this might be, I could take a stab at this with lower size on a day that we shouldn't be trading. And over time, you start learning those things more and more. You become more familiar with how price moves. Even more than that, you need to know when you want order blocks to form around key levels. So this order block went up into this first fair value gap, which is typically significant, and then created this order block. Do we have this closed yet? We have a potential order block right here on the 15-minute chart that will, if price moves higher, this down close candle right here will be significant. I can already tell you that if price is going to go higher, we'll find out if it starts closing above it. But this level, this 10 o'clock candle will be significant. There's two reasons why. Number one, time. This down close candle is at 10 o'clock. If prices wanting to go higher, it will review and refer to this order block in the future. Time. That's number one. Number two, key levels. Price. It came down and hit a specific price level. What did it hit? It ran into this 15-minute. Not a big deal. Swept this swing low, which is Friday PM session low. Bigger deal. Also, it tagged the 4-hour fair value gap right here, which also is framed off of the Friday PM session low. Big deal. So we have three overlapping reasons why this could be the low. If we aren't going to go for this level, for Friday's equilibrium level, we may still do that. But if we do close higher and we start moving up like this, let's say we run here, this level will have significance. Why? I told you those two reasons. I'm going to give you another reason. I said time and price. Time and price is one of them. But also we have overlapping confluences. So now, guess what this level is also? If price moves higher like this and comes back down, what is it hitting? An order block, but it's now a breaker. Low, high, lower, low. So all of these things are overlapping with each other. They're in flow with each other, and they're just packaged in a different way. But more importantly than anything, the most important thing when you're looking at all of these confluences overlapping and PD arrays working with each other is they have to have hit key levels. To me, if price doesn't want to run for these Friday's equilibrium, which is this red line right down here, which historically tends to do it most times. If it's not going to do it, it will do it on a Tuesday. That's the other day it will do it. If it's not going to do that and we do close higher and we create that level, this is now a breaker that will find support, and we will run for these highs, maybe London high, and maybe if it's really ambitious, Friday's high, which doesn't have to happen today. It could happen tomorrow. It could happen the day after. We don't know exactly when it's going to be. We just want to be able to identify these in advance, understand that it's hit some type of key level, and say, okay, if it is going to move higher, what could its target be? London high, swing high, previous Friday's high, and we could take a trade moving in that direction. So when I'm identifying, is my day bullish or bearish? Those are the things that I'm looking for. I'm going to see this down close candle into the 4-hour fair value gap, 15-minute, and run Friday's PM session low and say to myself, okay, if we are closing above here on a 15-minute time frame, that is going to be bullish. I think I'm bullish on the day. That's how I put my narrative together. And you do it on higher time frames to get a higher time frame narrative. 15-minute is the lowest you would want to go to try to bring out that higher time frame narrative. Ideally, it'd be the 1 hour or the 4 hour. And you can do the daily as well. You look at the 1 hour. The 1 hour, what closed bearish on this last candle, ran the low, hit an hourly fair value gap, but then closed inside the new week opening gap. It didn't expand, it retraced. To me, that is bullish. It's bullish, potentially bullish, depending on what we do on the 15-minute. If the 15-minute closes above it, that makes it more interesting. If this hourly closed above this down close candle, we have a change in state of delivery. So we want to combine the different PD arrays in a way that tells the story. And it happens over time. I remember that one day it just clicked. I don't even know. I don't even know how. It just like, I was saying everything that I was saying before. I was talking out loud what I would say before, but then one day it just like made sense. It takes time. And sometimes getting different people's perspective, different traders, and talk about it in a different way helps you digest it. So I've heard probably easily 20 different content creators talk about order blocks just to hear how they talk about it. Now, some of them I really liked and I took it, and then because it sounded really appealing, but then I put it together in light of what I know, and I'm like, this actually doesn't make sense. There's one guy that I really, really liked, that the way he talked about trading, and then I put it with my inside of my models and how I trade, and I'm just like, I can't watch his content. It's going against how I trade. So I stopped watching him and I look for other people and I just consume different things to put a narrative on what made sense. But the foundation was ICT's Concepts, and if it went outside of that, I was looking only to find people that were talking about his concepts in the context of how he trades. I don't like and I'm never looking for people to take his concepts and then to modify them and make them their own. I think that's false marketing. I think that's what a lot of traders do online, unfortunately. So over time, you just start learning these things. You put the story in place. Let's look at, did that 15-minute close? I think it did. Look where that 15-minute closed. How convenient, huh? It didn't close above that. So what does that tell us? It tells us that this is not an order block yet, and we can't treat it like an order block. We can only treat this as a retracement with a potential to move lower. Now, price may only be reaching down to this 15-minute fair value gap sitting right here. It may just be reaching down to this on the 15-minute time frame to give it some more energy to then move higher. That could be the case. So as you read price more, you start putting these different scenarios, and when a scenario comes up that just, man, this one makes sense, I want to take this one. You take it. You take a stab. You take a risk, and you manage your risk appropriately, and that's how you start learning on what works, what doesn't. It's how I figured out that how I like breakers. It's why I like breakers, and it's why I like inversion fair value gaps. I've done them enough to where I've seen how they work out, and I start seeing the characteristics of it. So, yeah, I know I'm just kind of rambling. I'm on here way longer than I expected. So that's pretty much the short of it. Is there, if there's any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, but we're probably going to end the stream here shortly, unless there's other questions. I love teaching. I really do. It's one of my favorite things to do. I like making money too. Don't get me wrong. I like making money. Yeah, I think this level, as we've talked about it, I think that 15-minute down close candle is a significant level that will be referenced in the future. We just need to figure out how it's going to be referenced and how we can use it to our advantage. That's it. And with that, tomorrow I will be dropping a discount code in the chat. So be here tomorrow if you want to get that discount code or you want to find out what it is. To be honest, I don't know how much it's going to be yet. Haven't decided. So we're going to be doing a Christmas and New Year's sale for the Purpose Driven Trader Academy. And we'll be giving that out tomorrow while we're on stream. So God bless, guys. Stay safe. Take care. Use the code DTJ if you are using Apex or you want to get more involved in funded accounts or prop firm accounts. So God bless. Stay safe. And we will talk to you guys here tomorrow. Bye-bye.